welcome to my house.
I love your pastel dream.
I have to say, Angela got here like half an hour. We meant to start recording about half an hour ago, and we've just been deep
I was already late.
No, you're 5 minutes late.
I know.
I don't know why you were so stressed about that.
I feel
if
like
I'm 5 minutes late, I'm like, you should be so fucking grateful that I'm only 5 minutes late.
So are you always late?
I'm not punctual.
Okay. Big
Are you
distinction.
punctual?
I'm a mix. I like the idea of punctuality.
That's like something like when someone cheats on you and they're like, I like the idea of monogamy. It's just in practice.
Well, actually, I did talk about like slightly embellishing my CV, and I was like, it was more about creating the illusion of experience.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that is lying on your CV, and I was like, absolutely, don't we all do?
It's fine to lie on your CV.
But
absolutely
back
casual.
to punctuality, I like the idea of it. I think, people's time is the most precious thing, isn't it? So I think a lot of the time it reflects how much respect you have for the other person. But then other people can take it really personally. I nearly ran out of petrol on the way. I also took a wrong turn.
On the way here?
And I was doing oxygen chambers. So like,
I have to say,
gal.
you've been in an oxygen chamber this morning, which I have no idea what that is. Can you explain that?
I did the school run. I lay down in like a coffin-like situation.
For how long?
An hour.
You're lying. Do you have music?
No music. I like to do it total sensory
Raw
deprivation.
dogging in the oxygen tank.
Oh yeah. And I fall asleep into the deepest sleep possible. It's so beautifully
Is it
restful.
like being in an MRI machine?
I've never been in an MRI
Really?
machine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That feels a bit more claustrophobic.
It is
that,
really
I kind of feel like
claustrophobic.
it's the LED in a facial. Sometimes I'm like, shit, that is very close to
When I have a facial, I really don't like that. I get very claustrophobic.
So
and it's the
good for
same
your
with the
skin,
tanning machines.
Oh, you don't do tanning.
I've done it
machines.
once and I just got so sunburned and then went straight back to pale. So I was like, this is such a...
I mean, that's why I
was
gave
peeling.
up
I was peeling.
No.
Yeah, well, we're the same. Like, it's just not meant to be.
It's not meant to be. I think you got to embrace
You
it.
age much better.
Embrace the pale, babe. Your 50-year-old self. Thank you.
So I know exactly. Have you seen the film The Substance?
No.
Oh, that's the whole idea of this film. Which
What,
anyway,
the whole film's about?
the film
sun
is about the
protection?
way that women abuse their bodies when they're young. It's really clever about the way that women abuse their bodies when they're young in order to look younger for longer. It's really, really clever. It's a very good metaphor.
Abuse them when they're young in order to...
The film is kind of sci-fi and they've created this substance in the film, which if you take it, so it's Demi Moore, she's this like actor who no one's casting anymore.
Is she with Margaret Qualley?
Yes, and so she
I've heard
plays
lots
the
about
younger version of her.
Okay.
So then this new drug exists. If you take it for 1 week on, 1 week off, you look like your younger self, right? So she takes it, but then I don't want to say too much. There's a very clever metaphor in it. I didn't love all parts of it, but it was clever because we do abuse our bodies when we're young or do things and we don't know like what they're going to do to us, like,
or you don't
Ozempic,
care.
basically.
You're kind of like...
Yeah, exactly.
I'll deal with that when I get there. Even the idea of, like the habits that we have that take 10 years life expectancy off. Sometimes I'm like, 10 years? That's not that much.
I know, but when you're in your 20s, it doesn't. I will say I have just turned 30 and suddenly I'm like thinking about things in a different way.
Are you really?
I've stopped smoking. I've stopped vaping. I feel so much more like conscious of my body now that I'm 30.
Okay.
I've written a list in my phone. Anyway.
Do you think that's work related or like life related?
I think it's that work is now so much more important to me maybe, and the responsibility is more important, that I don't want to risk being ill.
Yeah.
I don't like, especially if I'm performing ill is awful. Working ill is awful.
You don't get, in this line of work, you don't get to call in sick. You don't get to have a day off.
If I'm
so
ill,
you're like,
in Edinburgh, I had like either COVID or one of the worst flus I've ever had for the first 5 days of the run. And I just had to get a taxi there every day, do the show. Adrenaline is crazy because when you're on stage, you do not feel ill. Then I'd finish and go to sleep for like 16 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't spoken about parties but once. But when you were doing Strictly, did you ever get ill?
The week we left.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I actually kind of wiped it out of my memory, but on the day of the show, you get to do 3 run-throughs. So Carlos had been really ill all week. So I had to rehearse with somebody else. And then the day of the show, you do 3 like dry runs to the, is it to the live? No, sorry. It's the day before you do 3 runs. And I couldn't do the 3rd one. So at the end of the 2nd run, I was like, I I couldn't breathe. And so they said, do you want to do the third run through? I was like, I actually can't do the third run through. So we couldn't do the third run through.
And so also you didn't run through it with him? Did he
dance
with you?
Yeah, he danced. Yeah. But it was we were...
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, but apart from that, I think adrenaline does a massive amount. So when you're out there,
it definitely
like,
does. But also like, it is hard to be mentally clear when you're dancing as well.
Yeah.
What were when you're doing Strictly, because now I'm going to come on to the party aspect of this podcast, which is what the podcast is about. But when you are on Strictly, is it just like a boot camp? Are you having fun?
I had, honestly, the best time. And I don't know whether it's like in the way after you have a baby and you come out of the fog, you like think of it with rose tinted glasses. Because there was definitely a recovery period physically and every other sense. But I went into it going, I'm not doing this in a really strategic, this is going to up my profile and do this, and this. Because you never know what's going to happen. You could go on and people absolutely hate you and it has the opposite effect. I went on kind of indulgently, actually, thinking, I feel like as a 5-year-old, I was really out there.
Good at dancing.
Yeah. And really like
a performer.
Totally. And as, one of 4 girls in an Irish household, I think a lot of the time that wasn't really encouraged. It was like, we do not have time now for your nonsense or for like you to stop showing off. Like it became quite a shameful thing for me to take up. And I didn't realize this obviously until 5 years of therapy, but like to really take up space in any situation was quite difficult for me. So I thought, I think this is going to be like a really healing experience for me. Because
it's your inner child.
Totally
You're like
inner child.
letting your inner child come out. Yeah.
So I'm super competitive. So I kept having to remind myself that my sole purpose going into this was to enjoy the process and not fixate on the like result, which I can often do. And I end at the result. I sometimes get the gig. I sometimes get the prize. But usually it's not, it's not great if you've kind of sabotaged the entire
yes. And if you're only doing it for that one reason.
Totally. Whereas I actually, like the thing, when we left, I was like, I don't get to be in the training room every day.
Wow.
Like that bit. But I love the drag aspect of, a Saturday night.
But it's the rigorousness of that I can't imagine doing.
But like, it's like having no excuses. You have to do it. Like literally a car picks you up on a Monday morning. Would you
say from doing Strictly, from the start to the end, like how much better did you get at dancing?
Oh, at dancing.
How much would you say was it naturally already there with you at the start? Because like if I went on Strictly, which I would love to do, to be honest, but I would go out in the first week. Would you say?
No,
I honestly.
Is she that bad?
I've actually been watching YouTube videos
I heard. You've been practicing.
Amelia was being so mean to me. But I have been practicing because like I want to just like learn a bit of rhythm. Okay. But I do think
I don't know if you can learn rhythm.
Well, I have.
Okay.
I have. But I do think I would maybe increase like 5%. But how much? What was the transformation?
So honestly, I think it's a bit like cramming for an exam. Like you're learning completely different disciplines. So you think that week to week you're, improve. And there are, certain things that will crop up in the Latin dances. Every other week you'll have something that, relates to something you did 2 weeks ago. But then often you'll do a Samba and then which is all about like straight legs and roundy hips. Not a technical term. And then the next week you'll have a waltz where you're supposed to be literally bending your knees and up on your toes at the same time. Like they're completely counter to each other. So you're kind of learning, unlearning.
Your body must be so fucking confused.
So confused.
Yeah.
But so is your mind. The exhaustion comes because you're literally like trying to process all of this very technical information. Like it's not just a sexy dance show. It's like super technical. But I think for me, what it did, so I don't know week to week how much, the cumulative improvement, but I think my improvement came from like
the confidence,
freedom.
Yeah, the freedom, yeah.
Like a bit of freedom in my body to move without self-consciousness, because what I realized was, sometimes I was so fixated on getting the position right, the technical aspect right, that you're not actually dancing which is like a natural thing to do.
It is, and that's why when you watch like Latina like dancing, it's like it's so like it's so much more about like spirit basically. When you watch it, I'm like, God, I wish I was that free. Like I remember when I went to Cuba, I was like, one day I'll be that.
My God,
yeah. It was unreal. Yeah, it was unreal.
Well, I remember doing the Samba. It was a tragic week for me. It actually was one of my favorite dances in the end. No, actually, I hated it. Sorry, it was really traumatic. But I realized that loads of people have praised me on the dance, and now I'm like, I loved it too. Like, no, I didn't. I fucking hated it. But it was J-Lo, and it was like on the edge of a fountain, like a señorita. So it was full sexy. So I had done a Charleston. I can be full clown. I can be, I can take
and
on
I
a
would
character.
be able to do that. Yeah, no
easy.
problem.
That's like so easy for me. To be like sexy.
She's just literally such a bitch.
Like,
she's literally
you're made for the Charleston.
I could do a Charleston, Tyler. Fuck off.
The Charleston. You're made for the Charleston. You're even dressed for the Charleston, babe.
I know, exactly.
But the Samba was like, without getting too woo-woo about it, I had so much emotions in that week. It was like fear of really being like sexual. Okay?
Yeah.
And then Carlos would sit on the edge of a chair and be like, so we're going to teach you how to be a slutty lady. And he's like, here, like, it was excruciating for me to like step into that.
But amazing though.
Amazing. But I kept going, oh my God, this is like my ancestors. Like I can feel the weight of oppressed Irish women who have been shamed for generations.
Yes.
And here I am shaking my fanny on the telly. Like A, my granny'd be furious. B, is my mum is just going to be like, yeah, the dress was lovely. It's going to just style
Which
it out.
is like, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
But it was big. It was big. And I remember like really mentally having to push through that week and walking around my block going, okay, I got to go and shake this off. Listening to J-Lo and thinking, how would J-Lo walk? Because I can't just turn this on the dance floor. I have to start like...
No, it's a like method acting. Yeah, you have to get into that.
Totally, because I think I use clothes at like slight man repeller. I think like being in a sexy, overtly sexual or very feminine outfit was really tricky for me.
But it's a kind of a good challenge. My last Strictly question is like how, just because of the fascination with the Strictly curse, how much was it like everybody's like watching, like is it like a sort of gossipy environment of like people are like trying to see if someone's going to have an affair?
I think our year was really, I mean, I don't want to say asexual.
Yeah,
but
platonic.
Like, it was quite platonic.
Yeah, because there weren't any, were there?
No.
Not that we know of,
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
There may have been some, gentle frustrations murmuring. I'm
Which
not
it
sure.
is. And by the way, like it is like what you go through with someone.
Yeah.
Like
it's trauma bonding, basically.
Yeah,
and I mean that.
And then it's lots of physical touching and eye contact as well, which is like literally basically sex.
Totally. But also so I, again, as a repressed Irish woman, was like, oh my God, this is going to be like really uncomfortable. The hip action, the like physical. And then, like I say, it's so technical. Like you're literally being shoved into positions. There's nothing sexy really about it. But it's the emotional intimacy because you're learning something. So you're really vulnerable. I usually try and style out that I'm totally without need for validation. I mean, the irony and given the job I do.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't need any validation.
I don't want anyone to look at me actually, please.
Honestly, I don't need your thumbs up. But I really struggle with going, how was that? Like asking for feedback.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't worry about it, whatever. And you're so vulnerable going,
you have to do a lot.
How was that? So there's like all of your insecurities are there. And then this person, if you're lucky, is kind of holding you in that. So there's like a real emotional connection if you're lucky, but it
is really interesting because it's like, I remember when I was with my ex-boyfriend and then I read this stat that was like, 1 in 3 affairs begin at work, and he had like a job, unlike me. And so where he would like go to an office, and then I found that stat, and then I started the COVID pandemic. And that's actually why COVID started, because I didn't want my boyfriend to cheat on me. But then he stopped going into work, and I was like, amazing. It's just like us together at home.
But that's good. You weed them out quick. So did you spend COVID together and then you broke up?
Yeah, and then we broke up. Yeah,
Fine.
we broke up. Yeah, after COVID. But like, no, but I remember
you could still be
but basically
with that
when you're
person.
working with someone, it's like you're bonding with them in a different way. You know, like it is.
But I also think it's a bit like, not that like romantic relations are like siblings, but you're with them all the time. So it's one way, it goes one way or the other.
Yes, exactly.
It's pressure cooker.
What is the best party you've ever been to?
Oh,
and like the thing is, this is a hard question. It's like being like, what's the best like meal you've ever had?
Yeah.
But like, what comes to mind, I guess? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Should I have researched so I had these off the top of my head?
No, because I actually don't. I ask different questions every week.
Ask that
I like to surprise people, Angela.
Like the best party.
I'm not like, just following a script here. I'm actually live. We're like live in action.
Live and direct.
Because I would say, well, actually, I have very short-term memories. The best party I've ever been to is usually the last party I've ever been to.
Okay.
That's sort of my vibe. Best meal I've ever had was like
the one I can remember
I had yesterday.
Basically. Yeah. But I think I'm like that in life generally. And it's not
because we're quite present though, I think.
That's what I say.
I think it's because we're quite present.
But also, I don't remember a lot of stuff. It's because I don't want my head to be jumbled with all your old bullshit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, sorry that I didn't remember that innocuous fact you shared 17 years ago. I have life
that
to
1
live.
in 3 affairs.
Sorry. I'll remember that one.
Do you remember that one?
But
Stay woke.
I do think... I want my brain to have space.
I know.
Has plenty.
But it's kind of a good thing. I think it's a good and a bad thing. Because to me, it means that like no experience is ever like how do I explain it? It's like my relationship with food. I eat and I'm like, fuck, this is amazing. And then half an hour later, I will have forgotten that I've eaten it and I will like never think about it again.
I'm the same. Or, but I'm really jealous of people who can actually answer this question really brilliantly. I actually have a note section.
What was the last party you went to?
Sorry, I have a note section in my iPhone for Room 101 has since been cancelled, which is an outrage on every level. But I think sometimes those things come around and they're like, what's your, ideal dinner party? I'm like, I don't fucking know. So when I see somebody, I go, I'm going to add them to my dinner party list. Favorite movie, the one I'm going to put that one down. Anecdotes that I will never remember.
Put them down. Put them down. Okay, last party you went to.
Last party.
What's your social life like now? Because you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Your work is hectic. So like, how would you describe your social life now?
It's, I think I'm re-emerging from a cocoon. A long fucking cocoon. And I think I'm good at a party. And I'm
sure you are.
I really love a party. Like I've got good energy. But it means that I get whipped up and carried away and I go home. I never want to leave the party. So I never want to go, but I never want to leave once I'm there. So it's a real
That's really
bag.
Relatable. That's exactly how I feel.
So I will almost... So for example, last night, I mean, not necessarily a party, but there was a charity thing at the London Irish Centre. That
I love it there. I've performed there once. It was amazing.
The best. It's such a warm, gorgeous atmosphere, right? But Dermot O'Leary pulls together loads of amazing musicians. They all do a set. They do one of their own tracks. They do an Irish track or something that connects them to Ireland. And then there's an auction, Anyway, I always love it when I go, but a bit like a kind of familial relationship. You're like, oh, I have to go for Sunday roast. Like you're a bit annoyed. So I kind of dressed down, like almost like a kind of...
I don't want to be here.
Slightly. And then I walk in and I'm like, I misjudged it. Like I didn't put on eyeshadow. One of those where I'm kind of like, I'm here.
And how
but
did
like,
everyone else look?
Everyone looked fresh.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was like, did you know you were coming, hon? Like, did you know you were about to get up on stage?
Did you just bump into someone on the street?
Yeah.
Just they were like, I'm going to the Irish.
Yeah. Okay. And so So I'm a reluctant guest sometimes. And I kind of get it into my head where I'm like, oh my God, like the person is forcing me to go to their party, which they're not. They invited me and I'm going to love it or not. But so there's sometimes a reluctance to go. I think that is social anxiety, that I like to dress up as me being like busy or tired rather than me being anxious, because that doesn't fit with my identity.
Right. I do, but I get that. I actually think of the fear of going, it's a bit like dating, not that you're single, but when you go on a first date, you're like, oh my God, I want nothing but to like stay at home with my dog and not leave the house right now.
Yeah.
And then you go and you're like, I was just really nervous because this is fine.
Yeah.
So I think it is that feeling. You're just like nervous about the situation, and then you get there, and then because also you are the way that you are, I presume that then you're just like talking to everyone.
Everyone, like hind legs off a donkey. I will literally talk to anyone.
And then is it hard to get you to leave?
Impossible to get me to leave. Like impossible. I will never. The goodbyes, like Roy, if he's with me, has to warn me like a good hour before he's ready to leave. Is like, we're leaving now, and he'll have to like basically follow me around the room to get me to like hurry up the goodbyes. Usually my goodbye is longer than the actual staying at the party, which is often how I am. It's like I don't know whether it's quite an Irish thing where you're like, hi, how are you? And I get
and then
really
it's straight into the yeah.
So I don't like to leave a party. One of my favorite parties was actually for my 40th birthday party.
Wow, tell me about that.
So I really didn't want to party.
Do a big 40th.
You've got to do it. I mean, did you do a big 30th?
I just turned 30.
Yeah.
And I did a mild I always thought my 30th birthday was going to be this like huge event. And then I'd had such a rough year. Like I'd had this abortion that had just sent me so west. And I'd only, by the time my birthday came around, started to feel like I could leave the house. I was just in a really bad way. So I didn't have a big party, but it was really nice. I had a dinner in a Mexican restaurant and I paid for the whole thing, which I was really chuffed with, because I was like, all I wanted to do on my 30th was like thank everyone for like looking after me the last few years. So I just felt it was like 30 people on the 30th on my 30th, because I'm born on the 30th of April.
Oh, are
yeah.
you?
So it was like 30, apart from one
That's
person
got to be
didn't
a
come.
portal.
One person didn't come and I was like, it will be cursed. We have to find someone else. So we
you-
invited someone else and I felt so bad because it was like half an hour before. We were like, hey, by the way, like really last minute, Grace is having a birthday dinner. Do you want to come? Yeah.
She's surprising you.
So tell me about your 40th.
But you know what? I do think those big birthdays, actually all birthdays, because who knows where the fuck we are tomorrow, right? Are really nice to mark. And I do think that's a big moment, because I remember me and my friends in our 20s being like, can you imagine when we get to the point where it's like, don't worry, I have dinner tonight. And you're thinking how far away it is for you to be able to like, not, split the bill or pick up a bill.
Yeah, and my accountant like called me when she was doing my accounts and was like, you need to stop doing stuff like that. And I was like, fair, but also I really needed to thank everybody and I needed to feel grown up as well.
Like it's a moment where you've
exactly.
gone, okay, actually it's a reflection of how hard you've worked and what you've
and
achieved.
Also it's like it's a thank you, because I think I honestly, so many parts of my 20s I really thought I wouldn't make it to 30. I felt so insane for so much of it, and then turning 30, it was really the best birthday I've ever had, my 30th birthday. I mean, it did end in like me and my friends taking like way too many mushrooms, and like I fell out of a cab and then just like couldn't actually stand up, was just hysterically laughing on the floor.
But you're hysterically laughing. I mean, if every birthday ended like that,
it was amazing. Days. Yeah. So tell me about your 40th.
So my 40th was again a reluctant party where I was like, do you know what? I'm not really in the form. It's been really busy. I'm tired. Seems to be my excuse.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. And Roy made me do it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good of him.
So good. He's like, do you know what? We have to mark these things. You're fucking lucky. Things are good. Get your shit together. So I did. He's a tough love kind of guy.
Yeah. Get your fucking shit together.
Stop moping about.
Cheer up.
Cheer up. Smile.
Yeah.
But I had...
Where was it?
It was in... so my friend has a restaurant in...
A restaurant? Sorry, okay.
Did
someone
I say
just literally came back from Paris. My friend has a restaurant.
Did I say that?
My friend... You're like, my friend has a restaurant.
I mean, it's a chicken shop, so it's less restaurant and more...
Yeah, poulet.
So, but he turned... Over the course of COVID, so it's off Columbia Road Market, and we used to do a chicken party every year at Christmas where we would invite people around, soy glazed chicken. It was like a hoolie, right? Anyway, then COVID
What's
came.
a hoolie?
Oh, like just a big party. Like
Is that an Irish word?
I guess so.
Oh my God, I've never heard that before.
hoolie.
A hoolie,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's like, we're getting in. You're getting
love,
in.
Love.
So we had it there. My friend did the most amazing food. So he has since like switched, is not a chicken shop anymore. He does has turned the roof into a garden. He basically has turned the entire community into like this mad little, forest, and he grows his own stuff. And then we had ham, bacon. I got oysters in. We had a lad there shucking oysters. There was Christmas carols because my birthday's on the 29th. We had it, I think.
Your birthday's on the 29th of December. Wow.
Yeah. So we had it, I think it was the 16th of December.
Okay, nice. I was going to say you did Christmas carols on the 29th of December.
No.
Like, that is
I know.
after Christmas.
You missed the boat. You missed the boat. But we got a
Do
good
you know how
price.
December works?
So we had Christmas carols, we had mulled wine, we had like plates of ham.
Wow.
It was so really country. It turned out to be a really Irish celebration. I'm like nearly 10 years, at that point it was nearly 10 years in London. And so I found myself really leaning into like almost quite cliched Irish things. We had a traditional Irish band. I had an amazing performer called Anthony and his crew who did a drag show. I was up doing drag. My aunties and uncles were all there. They were like, please, can we have a party every year here? Will the lads come back every year? And like my aunties from Mayo, the ones thick and fast on that dance floor with these most like...
Did you make a speech? Did anyone?
Yeah. But I'm not great at a speech. I get very excited. I very much feed off the energy in the room, which means that all sincerity goes out the window. I either become really maudlin and really sentimental and I'm weeping, but mostly I go to the other side, right? So the maudlin weeper will be in the corner in private, like wiping her eyes before re-emerging. And then when I'm on, and I just get really like, it's just really daft and nonsensical. And I never thank the people that I should
I know
thank.
that. I remember on my 21st birthday,
Awful.
my mum and my friends organised my 21st birthday. My dad had absolutely zero involvement in the 21st birthday.
You went
I
all
only
in on
thanked
your
him
dad. You are
in my speech.
such a
I
dick.
only thanked him. And then Anna and Jack and my mum were looking at me going, what the fuck? And then I got off the chair and then Anna was like, you didn't thank us. Like we organised this whole thing. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I just completely blanked out. Like I just forgot that you'd done that. I've never really gotten over the shame of that moment. I think about it a lot.
Well, I did the similar thing at my wedding.
Oh my God. Didn't mention Roy.
I mentioned him, but like I mentioned him. I don't know why I felt the need to be like, it's like, he's really amazing. He's so incredibly supportive and he really like lets me just do my own thing. And then I kind of went, like, as he should do, FYI, if yours aren't doing that, that's wrong. Like, I don't know why I'm praising him for that. That's kind of like base level stuff. And I found myself like almost trolling him.
Yes, yes, being like, actually, the bar is just so low. It's not about him. It's actually just our standards of men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like okay,
toxic
we're
masculinity.
all...
Andrew Tate, like, what's happening?
Basically. And then in the end, trying to like roll it back around, I was like, but honestly, you're just like such a cool dude. And I punched him on the arm. And he has never, ever let me forget it because obviously it's in the bloody video.
That is so funny.
I'm like,
but that's nerves, I think.
It's nerves.
I think that's sort of self-depreciation of like in the moment, you don't want to sincerely be like, you are amazing. I'm so grateful to have you. So then you have to like punch him in the arm and be like, hey bro. Yeah.
But I also think, and it's taken me a long time to realize that kind of, I think it's a real abandonment thing. Whereas if I can kind of, slightly minimize the effect everybody has on me and the like wild sense of dependency that I have on them, then I will be fine.
Yeah, I do get that. It's a bit like that thing of, I think I was talking about this yesterday, but sometimes we're raised not to like be overly loving to people. And so then you don't know how to do that, basically. Like I had to teach myself how to be like really affectionate and really loving because my parents are like, they're loving in some ways, but they're not like, they don't like tell me I'm amazing every day.
Yeah.
And
And you are.
And I thank you so much.
Yeah.
And now they do, because I've like literally manipulated them so much into having to do it. So if I have any milestone in my career and they don't say that they're proud of me, I'm like, okay.
But is that not an amazing moment to get to, where you know exactly what you need, you know exactly how to communicate that need, and the people who love you most try their best to do that for you?
Yeah, exactly. But I also think it's good to be able to do that for yourself. That's the thing I'm really trying to teach myself, is that it's good. You should only really ever need that from yourself.
So I have two schools of thought, because I get that. And I think all of that, like validation, if you've got it in here, you don't need it out there. But like, we're here with other people for a reason. And I think sometimes we create this like wall where I don't need anybody. And I did this in COVID and like became quite self-sufficient emotionally and every other way, and was like, babe, whatever you're doing over there is not going to affect my little bubble, but we're connected. We're supposed to be affected.
And all of those things are amazing, and they're like extra, like added benefits. And that's why like I love having the friends that I do, because we are so like supportive of each other. But my issue in romantic relationships especially, and this is why I'm trying to do this work, is that like in my life I've always expected men to like be able to validate me and make me feel good, when I should be able to do that myself. And then it will mean I won't be in a codependent relationship, and so it'll be easier to leave when I'm in the next time, God willing I'm not, but I'm in an unhealthy relationship. It'll be easier to be like, I'm out.
I'm
gone.
You know? Yeah.
So I think that's filling that void. Yeah. But then being like very grateful for the love that you get.
Yeah. Because I sometimes find myself having like really sentimental, loving conversations in my head.
That you then don't, do you
that
then
I never
say
share,
them?
but I feel like it's done. So, and then somebody close to me will feel underappreciated, but I'll have been like literally monologuing them in my head.
It's interesting. I do think this, right? And like, I do imagine it's the same in like Irish culture. I think we never have those conversations unless we're drunk. This is the problem, right? So it's like, you know, you have all these conversations in your head of how much you appreciate and love someone, a friend or whatever. Yeah. And then you don't ever say it. Then you get drunk and then you say how much you love them over and over again. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, embarrassed. Was I like being really intense last night? Yeah. It was sad. I mean, it's sad.
I know. But I do think it's that kind of, it's flexing that muscle going, actually, it's really nice to tell someone you think they're fab.
It is. Yeah. You know? Well, I think you're fab.
I think you're fab.
Thank you. It would have been so weird if you didn't say it back.
Has that ever?
Can you imagine if you were like, thank you? I was saying this the other day at a party. I was at a party and people kept saying I looked really nice, because I did. I looked amazing.
Was this when I met you on the street in the pink jacket?
Yes, yes.
I did. Did you wear the sunglasses all night?
I did, yeah.
Obsessed. I was going to wear my sunglasses for this.
I know. Oh, we should have done that. It's
quite
too late
a vibe.
now.
Yeah,
it's too late. But so, and then people kept saying that I looked nice, and then I'd be like, so do you. And then my friend was just like, you don't need to keep saying that, like, because not everyone looks as nice as you, and it sounds like
take it
patronizing. Yeah.
Somebody told me recently, because I do think compliments, sharing them, because again, sometimes I'll do it in my head, oh, you look fab, and not say it out loud.
I love complimenting.
I say it on the streets to people, and they're like, oh, hello. But what was my point?
Anoni does that a lot. She stops people all the time. She's like, just want to say you look amazing.
It's so good.
It is
and
really nice.
It totally lifts them. It's lovely.
And also then you just think, God, there are so many nice people in the world. Because I think you walk around London thinking like, oh, everyone looks so like pissed off and mean. And then if you do that, you're like, oh, actually maybe everyone is thinking it. They're just not saying it.
And they're really soft. I've started doing this thing on social. I don't know why. I was feeling, sometimes, you know, social media can be a bit, like it's very self-centered kind of.
Totally.
Like promoting whatever else. And so I started buying baskets of roses. Now, a lot of people thought I was going to charge them, because it's a bit of a throwback, isn't it?
And I'm just thinking like Oliver Twist.
You're like, where's your kebab? No, is it not a thing where you have people trying to sell roses after a nightclub? Like?
Yeah.
So, and also, you buy your girl
on holiday as well.
It's quite a thing. So anyway, I buy these like roses and I stand outside a tube station and I give them to people. And they're kind of running away from you initially because they think there's strings attached or you're trying to take the piss or something. But like their little smiles and their faces light up. It's the cutest thing
And
ever.
Also, can I ask, when you next do that, if you see any like good looking 6 foot and over males who look like they have like a good job, earning over 6 figures, if they look... Could you give them a rose with my number in it?
That's a really good idea.
Why don't we go out and do that together?
Matchmaking.
Yeah.
So like I'm finding you a husband.
You're finding me a man.
I'm quite good at that.
Yeah, but I think I'd feel too awkward to be there. I think you'd have to just have a framed photo of me, like it's my wake, you know, like just have like a framed picture of me and just say, would you like to give this girl a rose? And then I'll emerge from around a corner.
Done.
And then he can give me a rose.
Oh my God. And what if he goes, thank you?
Then obviously,
yeah.
I'm never going to go outside again.
We'll make sure they're peppered.
No, but he'll probably be like, I've seen that girl on Instagram. She's fucking annoying.
She's going to tell everybody
everything about this.
Everything. But like speaking of a wake, also fantastic
great parties. Well, especially like an Irish wake.
An Irish wake is like literally the best. And I think...
But why is that?
Well, okay, sorry. Just for context, like obviously... Because I talk about Irish. Funerals a lot. I am. In case you didn't notice. There are different circumstances which make, like, you know, it depends on...
If it's like a grandparent or a great uncle,
you know, someone who's had a good old run at it, right? And then there's just something glorious about the togetherness and the messiness and the like tradition and ceremony of singing and crying. And like, I remember my granny died at 93 and we were, you know, like around the open cask, obviously. I say obviously, it's not obvious for a lot of people because they find
I've never seen an open casket. No.
Okay. So I have from the time I was really young.
And it's still a thing.
It's still a thing. Wow. It's quite unusual to not have that.
Really?
Yeah, like cremation is definitely on the up.
Yes. But it's definitely invest in cremation. If you're looking to invest in something, cremation.
I mean, it's always going to happen, guys. It's recession proof. But also, there's a new place in Crouch End. Have you seen this place?
No.
It's a funeral shop and I went on it because I'm obsessed. I really want to do a documentary on like death, but it's basically like going in and choosing your wedding. Not that there's a particular shop front for that.
But you choose your coffin.
You choose your casket. There are different baskets. You can have them on a horse-drawn carriage. You can, it's owned by the chef, Oliver Payton, who's Irish. It's called Exit Here. It's called
Exit Here. That's an amazing name.
And I remember walking by it and be like, oh, that's a little interiors shop, isn't it? And I Googled Exit Here because it's got quite like colourful caskets in the front.
Really?
And then you get to choose your celebrant. You can be in a forest. You can be in like, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite cool because it's empowering.
Yeah.
But also the chicest funeral that I've seen in a really long time. Have you heard of the Irish writer Edna O'Brien?
Yes, yeah.
So she wrote Country Girl and was basically exiled from Ireland because it was too racy at the time. And it was banned in Ireland and they burned the books because it was like anti-Catholic. And she moved here and had the most like colourful, wonderful life. And she was really old when she died, but she wanted to be buried next to her mum in, I want to say Clare. Oh my God, they took the wicker basket. So first of all, wicker basket, fabulous. Like a rattan moment. Then, then all of her guests were barefoot in like chic two pieces with like your sunglasses, a little cat eye moment. There was no formality. And they're all barefoot getting off a jetty, off these little boats where the casket had been women carrying the little basket. Because obviously she was an old lady and she didn't have much, you know, meat on her.
Yeah.
And it was just so beautiful. And then a very Irish or very famous Irish photographer called Perry Ogden, who does like documentary style photographs of a lot of like traveling community and
so have you planned your funeral? Like, have you gone in there and been like, this is my...
I haven't gone into Exit Here because I don't know if I'm going to be in Crouch End.
Yeah, that's true. But like, the thing is, I don't like thinking about it.
Nor do I, but when we got married, I remember thinking, oh, you know, I don't want any of the tradition. I'm like way cooler. It's not on brand for me to be married in a church was kind of how I felt. It was like a copy and paste moment. Eventually we got married in the woods, but with a priest, which is technically not like, anyway. But I remember having this moment where I thought, okay, hang on. If I die in the morning, like I want the full shillelagh. You do too, honey. Don't worry. I want like roses and keening. There's a death doula. Like I want a death doula to bring me there in a good place, but also like muck going in over the coffin, people wailing, people singing, then people telling stories and showing photographs. And
I know, I just wish I could be there. That's the thing. When I think about these things, I just have FOMO thinking about it because I want to know.
Yeah, but you're up there literally watching everyone. I know.
I just want everyone. I want to hear everyone being like, she is the best.
But you will. You're literally under.
But also, I think funerals for me are like some of the funniest moments of my life have happened at funerals.
What, like trying to squash a laugh?
Yes, yes. Like I remember I was at a funeral once and someone's phone went off and we were like, okay, obviously he's not going to answer it. He answered the phone and had like a fucking phone call in the middle of the church. And I could not, like, I started like really uncontrollably laughing and could not stop laughing for the rest of the time. So then it was just so inappropriate and my parents were being like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, no, it was just amazing. So I just think that intense, I love the emotions.
But it's
of like
and also it's the like kind of anxious emotions, but it's that you are not allowed to laugh in this moment. Therefore,
exactly.
It's like in school.
Therefore, everything is funnier.
It's way funnier.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So wait, what were we saying before that? Is you were saying, oh, you love an Irish wake.
I love an Irish wake.
Yeah.
I love the closure of an Irish wake. I love stuffing buns in my granny's pocket. Like, not that it happens every week, but you know.
Yeah. Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean, I don't think everyone does that, but she had a really sweet tooth.
Oh, that's really cute.
And she was diabetic, but like would not really follow the rules.
Yeah.
So he'd come in so she'd be having her little bun every day. And so
that's really cute. I mean, I think that's interesting with an open casket because I've never. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get closure, I think.
Well, I think a lot of people find that incredibly like creepy, I guess. But you see their little angelic fate. I mean,
I just think like what a random job for that to be your job that you like.
Well,
do
have you watched Love Is Blind?
No, it's
Freddie from Love Is Blind is a funeral director.
Really?
Yeah, and like he's a real buff, hot little thing, and you think. No, sorry, this is so unexpected. But all of the young women that he meets, when they say what he does, they laugh at him. And you're like, actually, he's a good broad-shouldered man.
I know, but
he's exactly what I'd like.
I do think like what, that is such a strange job.
It's an unusual one to get into in this day and age. What does that do
to you as well? Like all
do you know
you're
what?
doing?
I imagine it's a bit like, what, like, say, I'm trying to think of the philosophers who say, like, if you can really get close to death, essentially every day, you live, you're more alive in life. There must be a more articulate way of saying that. It must
be that way if you're a doctor, definitely.
Yeah. Well, a bad doctor.
Yeah. So I feel like we've kind of built your dream party, haven't we?
Oh God, it's my funeral.
No, it's not your funeral. I feel like, because I was going to ask you.
It's your funeral. But I'm going to curate it, babe. It's going to be so chic, okay?
I want it really chic. Like I want like Vivienne Westwood, like tartan. Like I want a lot of tartan. Lot of tartan. And I want so many bagpipers there. If my dad outlives me, I'm sure he'll play the bagpipes. But I love the bagpipes.
Is there any Irish in your dad?
No, we are 100% Scottish.
Okay, because you remember I met your dad years ago. Do you remember
that? I do remember.
And like we were, it was at a late show thing that was in London, which never happened. And that was actually a really funny random party. And me and your dad started to sing. I was like, I know Grace.
Yeah,
and then he started singing, or we started. I said, you know the song Grace? I was like, it's my favourite song in the world because obviously Rod Stewart sings it, but it's an old Irish like rebel song. And we sang it and sent a video to you.
I don't remember the song, Grace.
I mean, it is quite controversial.
Go on. Why?
Because it's about like a rebel Irishman getting shot dead on the morning. He was about to marry his love, Grace.
Wow. Oh, Grace.
But it's a beautiful song.
There are loads of good songs with Grace in the name.
No, this is the best song. The
song.
Grace.
Okay.
Yeah. But because Amazing Grace is obviously pretty,
yes. Well, so my dad plays that every year at my birthday on the bagpipes.
Oh my God, he lied to me. Did he even know Grace, the song I sang to him? He's like,
did it go,
style it out, Al.
But no, he loves the bagpipes. Like every party we've ever had in my whole life and funeral, he has played the bagpipes. Like every single funeral I've ever gone to involving my family, my dad's walked the coffin down with the bagpipes.
But I think the bagpipes are like one of the most majestic.
I
and
agree. There's something about the bagpipes.
Emotional.
I cry
So
as soon as I hear the bagpipes.
You know who loves the bagpipes? Rob Delaney.
Really?
Weird, okay? I don't know why. He loves the uilleann pipes specifically, which
don't
are
know
like
what that
a
is.
subsection of the bagpipes. I don't know.
This is such a niche conversation that we're having.
I had him on my
uilleann
chat show in
bagpipes.
Ireland, and I always was like, it was called Ask Me Anything, and I didn't want to do the normal shit. So I was like, what does Rob Delaney really like? And
And he loves the bagpipes.
he loves bagpipes. We got a lad in, played the uilleann pipes. Mine his favourite song.
There is something about the bagpipes that really like I feel like so at home.
They're so emotive, honestly. And also I think it's like a resonance thing, isn't it? Because it's like
something about it.
It's
Yeah,
kind of holy.
It's like it's like chanting.
Because you think of like and amen. It's that kind of.
I really resent that my dad has never taught me them. Is a thing that I really resent.
Do you know what? I don't know, and I'm going to sound totally sexist. I don't know how I feel about a woman playing the bagpipes. I just don't think it's the same. And also, it's really weirdly suggestive. I think
it's so weird. Honestly, it's really discombobulating, but I think it's sick. Like, we met this woman in Scotland once.
Oh shit! No, they're fab. Sorry.
No. It's fine, but I do agree it's discombobulating because also we've grown up
people
watching
are
all the
photoshopping.
Scots guards.
Yeah.
They're all men. But then also because the outfits are very masculine in one way. Well, they are wearing a skirt, but like apart from that, it's very masculine. They're wearing like the jacket is masculine and like that big fur thing that they wear.
This is the vibe. Yeah. I mean, that's quite sexy.
That's gonna be me. That's gonna be me on my next tour poster
in a knee-high sock.
Yeah,
with
really
the uilleann
suggestive,
pipes.
like fucking the bagpipe.
But I also think fucking the bagpipe. Did you say? I think the bagpipe is quite uterus-like.
Yes, it is.
You know,
yeah.
so I feel like it's weird for a woman to squeeze on their uterus.
That's really
Gets
funny.
enough
That's really
trauma.
funny. That's really funny. Okay. Have you got any stories that might ease someone's anxiety?
So I lived in New York for a while.
When?
6 months. 6 months.
Yeah.
Like many, many years ago after I finished uni, and I worked in a bar, and like the thing, you'd work until 4 a.m. and then you'd have drinks to decompress. And like there'd be literally nobody in the bar at that point. But I remember being so drunk. I don't even know presumably I would have had a phone. I'm not 70. But like, I don't remember the phone being of any use to me, you know? And we were renting a room in Astoria, okay? I basically went home in this man's size, like 11 leather shoes. So I'd obviously lost my own shoes, put this man's shoes, who happened to own the bar. Like, so it wasn't like I could disconnect from work. So I put them, and I hadn't done anything with this man bar steal his shoes.
Put his size
so
11
I took
shoes
his
on.
shoes and I walked home via Whole Foods, okay? Because I really... She's always looked after herself.
Yeah.
Broke to
This
the ropes,
is why you're
put
going to be
in, getting a
120
deli.
years old, because even like fucked with man's size 11 shoes on, you were like, oh, get some kombucha.
Yeah. But it rained. So I'm walking through Astoria at like 5 a.m. Not really safe, I would think, for a single young woman. And it rained, and I just remember these shoes filling up with water as I'm walking, like bedraggled, trying to find, because I obviously had gotten off the wrong like subway stop. And then I arrived home at the thing, no key. My flatmate who was in there couldn't answer the door, but there was also a woman. We rented the room off a woman who lived there. So I woke up with my friend standing over me. I had fallen asleep in the corridor of the building, in these shoes, soaked to bits with like a tofu steak under my arm. But I think at that moment,
tofu.
I was clean eating, babe.
It's like that Gwyneth Paltrow quote that's like, it's all about balance. You know, like you can have, it's like, I can't remember the quote now, I'm going to butcher it, but it's like balance. It's like doing this and then putting lasers on your face, you know, tofu and cigarettes. That's like
tofu
the perfect
and
balance
cigarettes.
of life.
Yeah. Well, I did drink a lot, and I used to steal a bit when I was drunk.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, like a souvenir from somebody.
Comment.
Okay,
yeah.
So like souvenirs from people, but with absolute no regard.
I've
to the fact
got a friend.
Like I like that egg dish. If it's 5 a.m. Okay, and we're still here, you wake up tomorrow morning, that egg dish is no longer there, okay? I've been needing one for ages. I don't know that it would survive an Amazon trip.
You've been really thinking about that,
That
haven't you?
egg
You've been
dish
really
is-
thinking.
Yeah.
If I was at the afters here, the egg
dish is
would
gonna
you
get
take
it.
the eggs as well? Or would you leave
No,
the eggs?
I'd leave the
No,
eggs. I'd leave the eggs. Yeah. But I'd hide them in
That's
a tea
polite.
towel.
That's really polite. Yeah. They can still have breakfast
Or I'd
tomorrow.
like take them outside and egg your house. Depends how hospitable we were.
I've got a friend who's like a headphones kleptomaniac. So his only thing is at house parties he steals headphones.
Headphones are bloody expensive.
But this was more in the wired headphones era.
Okay, fine.
So he would always have loads of wired headphones because he'd be like, it's fine, they'll just replace them. I don't think he was still like a set of AirPods. That is theft.
Yeah, but
that
so
is
are those
theft.
big fun.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh my God. Yeah.
iPad.
No, I mean, I don't know though. Like he's quite a random person.
I actually once stole a gobstopper from the local
And you're still
the
thinking
local
about
shop.
it?
No, I didn't even steal it. My friend Jean Murray told me that the shopkeeper Sheila, who was really tight,
Was giving
said
it
we
for
could have
free.
it. So I took it. Then my mum, Hawkeye, was like, where'd you get the gobstopper? I literally gave you 20p and you had a rocket and a gobstopper. That does not make sense. Who gave you the gobstopper? And I said, oh no, Sheila gave it to us. My mum was like, Sheila did not give you that gobstopper. She went up to Sheila and said, did she? No, they stole the gobstopper.
Parents are so funny, isn't it? Because like I would just be like, don't do it again. But I'm not going to go up to the
My
fucking
mum brought me
shop
to the police
owner.
station.
You're joking.
Yeah. Brought me to the police
It's
station.
crazy that
and
having
sat
gone
me in the
through
car.
that, you were still
continue.
thinking about stealing my fucking egg tray.
Would you bring me
You
to the
learned
police?
nothing.
I fucking learned nothing. Yeah.
What is your excuse? Well, it sounds like you don't leave parties though. That's the
No.
thing. So do you have an excuse to leave? Say if you did have to get out somewhere, what would your excuse be? Would you lie?
I actually would just do a classic Irish goodbye
Yeah.
and leave without any trace. I'd say I'm off to the loo, out the front door. See you
I
later.
did that the other day and it was the first time I'd done it. I said, I'm going to the toilet. I went in the opposite direction of the toilet and had my coat and bag on. And I
Rookie.
just left and nobody gave a fuck.
No one gives a fuck.
It's a great way
But
to
like
leave.
I would say that if somebody who knows you saw you with your bag and coat on, it kind of kills the
I was
vibe.
in a social situation where I knew like I was at dinner and I knew like 3 people and it was like a perfect. I was like, I have had a great time and now I'm out.
See, that is growth. Knowing, this is the perfect moment. What's your thing? Nothing great happens between 3 and 6 a.m.
Yes, which I
I mean,
invented. I am the originator of that.
Is that not her thing?
No,
Okay.
exactly. Thank you.
No, I think it is. You've owned it so much, I feel
thought
like
I'd
it's
invented
you.
it. And Amelia was literally sitting there like, did she actually seriously think?
Our editor was like,
Yeah, my editor
That's
was
a thing.
Yeah.
But I would argue that maybe like post 1 o'clock is the time to leave.
100%, but I do think me and you are probably very similar in this sense where if I'm having fun, I do find it difficult to leave.
Yeah.
But I'm really trying to work on that sweet spot of I've had such a good time and now I
It's
must
downhill.
go.
Yeah.
I must go.
Yeah.
That's maybe going to be my new line.
I must
go. I've
Yeah.
had such a good time and now I must leave.
You know, I remember, this is like a different beat, but I interviewed Joanna Lumley, who's
Wow.
like one of the most
That's my
insanely
dream.
wonderful humans in the entire world. And I remember before I interviewed her, watching her as we went onto stage, and she was observing everything in such a like present way. And I was very much in that space. And I was trying, so I kind of was looking at what she was doing. And I said, when we got on stage, I said, I observed you, interacting backstage and as we were coming out here. And I said, you literally, like you've been, not insulting, but like around a while. There was no sense of her being jaded or bored. I said, you walked in and you look around like with really fresh eyes and like wonderment. And she said, look at this place. Look at how lucky we are. Look at these lights. Look at this picture. Look at this sofa. Feel this couch. And she was so in the moment. And she said, I just think I like to remind myself every day, life and this day today is like the best party you've ever been to. And she said, imagine the best party you've ever been to. All of your favorite people are there. The people that you love, the people that have meant the most to you at different points in your life, and they're all there. You have your best outfit on. You've never looked better. You've never felt better. You have a champagne glass. You're like mid-flow having the literal time of your life. And she said, death happens when the cab rolls up. At any point, the cab comes and says, babe, I'm here to pick you up. And you're like, sorry, what? I'm having the time of my life. And she's like, you never know when the cab comes. You need to enjoy the party while you're still here.
Wow. Oh my God. That is crazy.
I was like, Joanna.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing way to think about life.
Isn't it?
It really is an amazing way to think about life.
So maybe don't
But
leave
I
the party.
will say, that is why I end up in places at 6 in the fucking morning. Because I'm like, the cab might be coming, so I have to stay here.
It might be here at 7. I don't want to be in bed.
That's how I'm going to justify bad decisions in the future.
Joanna Lovely told me.
Actually, I didn't need to hear that. I'm going to go broke. No, I love that. Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Oh my God, I'm sweating.